The man stabbed his wife in the stomach, and seeing that she was no longer moving, he realized she was pregnant. Awe had come to reconcile only to discover that his wife had bought a ticket to the Netherlands, planning to move abroad. Unable to accept being abandoned by a woman, he took out a spring knife he had prepared in advance. Now, Awe drove to the construction site where he worked. He threw his wife's body into the concrete pool. For 20 years, he carefully kept the secret, maintaining his image as a devoted good man, and never even took off his wedding ring. But he never imagined that he would encounter the daughter seeking revenge. As a world-renowned architectural designer, Awe was invited to Paris to give a lecture, and in order to catch his flight, he had to cut short the enthusiasm of his fans. Heavy rain made traffic worse. Awe was irritably smudging his drafts. Early morning, a soaked girl knocked on his car window, asking for a ride to the airport. Awe hesitated but agreed. The first thing she said made his heart skip. Xiaomei introduced herself as from the Netherlands, and instantly, the scene from 20 years ago flashed in Awe's mind. If his wife had been pregnant with a girl, she'd be this age now. A scream interrupted Awe's thoughts. It turned out that Xiaomei's suitcase was left at the spot where she got in the car, and her passport was inside. The girl asked the driver to turn around immediately. Awe was a bit angry, but due to his public image, he reluctantly agreed. Because of this commotion, the man missed his flight, which was all part of the girl's plan. Awe sat dejectedly at the airport, waiting to reschedule his flight, feeling uneasy all over. The reason he wanted to leave quickly was that this was the place where he had buried his wife 20 years ago. At this moment, the persistent girl appeared again. She kept talking to herself non-stop. Awe sarcastically asked, "How much do you want to disappear?" Xiaomei seized the opportunity and suggested, "Just listen to my story, and I'll leave once I'm done." The story starts off a bit gross, then gets a little scary, but it will end with love. Back then, he was just a child, and Xiaomei was preparing cat food, cutting up some pork offal. Open a can of herring and pour it over a pot of leftover sour rice, stirring, and the girl suddenly grabs it and stuffs it into her mouth. She was just too hungry, as her mom kept changing boyfriends and nobody paid attention to her. Xiaomei's only friend was Jiao Jiao, the school idol, top of her class, and the star of the ballet class. Xiaomei was most envious of Jiao Jiao's cozy home. One day, she burst out with a wild curse. Coincidentally, Jiao Jiao's close friend passed away from a heart attack that night. Seeing Xiaomei firmly believe she had superpowers as a child, Aoi interrupted her story and walked away dismissively. Oddly, Xiaomei entered the men's restroom and relieved herself in public, making Aw cautiously back away. He'd met such a crazy woman before. Like a leech sticking to successful people to extort money. Sure enough, Xiaomei followed along. Seeing the man ignoring her, she began to flirt. Wei had no choice but to continue listening to her story. After growing up, Xiaomei immediately left home and went to Paris to study. In her spare time, she enjoyed wandering through cemeteries, admiring the epitaphs of famous people. There, he encountered his goddess and was deeply attracted to her at first sight. In a moment of madness, he knocked the woman unconscious from behind and dragged her into a tomb, intending to commit an indecent act. Fortunately, the woman woke up and escaped while he was unprepared. From then on, Xiaomei lost her appetite and searched all over the streets of Paris just to see her goddess again. 2 years later, they met again by chance. Since the goddess hadn't clearly seen her face before, she didn't recognize her. This time, Xiaomei approached carefully, and over time, they became friends. Xiaomei got invited over. He wanted coffee, and his laughter jogged the goddess's memory. Sitting there was the person who tried to harm him 2 years ago. An argument erupted, and amid the chaos, Xiaomei stabbed the goddess in the stomach. The person killed was actually Awei's wife. Awei was so shocked he couldn't speak, wondering if Xiaomei could be the child from his late wife's womb. I encased the body in concrete. He demanded to know who the girl was. Then a rumbling sound came from beneath his feet. The room filled with a large amount of concrete, and the man knelt down, begging his daughter for forgiveness. Xiaomei grabbed her father's neck and pushed him into the concrete, submerging him completely. In his final moments, Awei remembered how he met his wife at a cemetery in Paris, captivated by her charm. Isn't this exactly the plot from Xiaomei's story? Even if she's his daughter, he stabbed his wife to death back then. How does Xiaomei know these details? Awei suddenly wakes up on a flight, with Xiaomei asking the flight attendant for coffee, but no matter how loudly she speaks, no one hears her. Turns out, Xiaomei is just a figment of Awei's imagination. The story he shared, about a loveless childhood leading to a twisted personality, envy of more talented classmates, and a warped love for his wife, mirrored Awei's own life. Years later, returning to the old place triggered a mental breakdown, blaming his sins on his demon persona. His guilt over killing his pregnant wife made him imagine this demon as his daughter. The film offered clues, like Xiaomei's clothes imagined by Awei from a fan he photographed at a lecture, and airport staff only speaking to Awei, ignoring Xiaomei, revealing the truth. Awei was filled with awe and fear. He couldn't accept his madness or face the past of killing his pregnant wife as he confronted his persistent demon persona. He decided, shut his eyes, opened them again, and Awei struggled to rise from the concrete, suppressing the demon within until it stopped, then frantically brainwashed himself. Leaving the restroom, passengers eyed him oddly. No surprise, as a grown man had locked himself inside, yelling. Once seated, Awei saw his hand wound healing, and everything seemed normal again. I'm CC. If you enjoy it, give a thumbs up and follow me for my next film.